Mr. Baharloo, you and your son Rod just finished a movie by the name of Devolution. What does devolution mean?
What do you think devolution means?
Opposite of revolution.
This year we are going to have a 40% national growth at constant prices, which is more than twice, almost 3 times, the world record which was held by the Japanese.
I did criticize the president because of our undercutting of what was a stalwart ally, the Shah of Iran. And I did think that it was a blot on our record that we let him down.
Revolution is supposedly a forward movement, which I still strongly don't believe in it, any revolution. But in terms of Iran and what happened to Iran, it's a true devolution, meaning a nation devalued itself.
Rod, tell me, what was your role in this movie? Like, what did you take care of?
I think that we both commingled our roles, so we intertwined each other's responsibilities to the point that it's hard to actually figure out which one of us did which part in the movie. There's parts that I wrote, there's parts I researched, there's parts my father edited, there's parts my father, together it was a very good mix, I could say, of working together and create, lightening each other's responsibilities. Certain aspects that I had difficulty with, my father always stepped in, and vice versa. And we tried to help each other make this as smooth as possible, but for us to put a finger on one role or another would be quite difficult, I think.
Look, we were from 2 generations, 30-some years apart, okay? But so we could not actually, we were just parallel moving, but we could not connect at one point to see what is a question that we both could share. And that question was, why in a country like Iran, a revolution happened? A country as wealthy, healthy, and progressive like Iran should have had a revolution. This was the question that we both shared. So we tried to find the answer for both generations. My generation, I was away, I was here when it happened, but I could never convince myself that it was a right move. And from the inception of this revolution, I felt that there is a wrong movement. For Rod, then ask himself why he became interested.
I really want to know, this, when I speak to people, recently I moved to Los Angeles a few years ago, where the Iranian population there is so much larger than on the East Coast. I've gotten a lot closer to my culture and spoken to a lot of people in my age group that have come from Iran. My biggest question has always been, why did everybody leave if this was something that we all wanted? Or why is my family here? This is something that's created great confusion for me, in all honesty. How to return back to my roots, and what's the wall that's blocking me from getting there? And I think that since there are so many Iranian Americans in my age range that have grown up outside of Iran, Europe, Canada, America, and so many other places, I really feel as if we all share this question.
And at the time that revolution happened in Iran, the population of Iran was like 30-some million. At least 4 to 5 million people just got out of country. That was the greatest brain drain in the history of any nation. We are talking about, about 5 million out of 35 million. Why it happened? Then we look at the footage on the films from the old time, from Revolution, and we see all these people asking for this revolution, and then you say something is wrong. If it was something that everybody wanted, then why everybody just got out of country? We are now scattered all over the globe. 5 million Iranians, maybe more. Why are we here?
So then the idea for this movie came because one day you just, what happened? What happened for this?
The idea happened 33 years ago, honestly. But it was 33 years in making. But I needed, in 2010, I needed a driving force to make me move for this project. And the driving force was Rod.
And my driving force is you. I mean, when I say that we shared responsibility, it's not just a technical responsibility. On top of that, we both feel, with the knowledge that we've learned or the information that we've acquired, we both feel such a responsibility in our hearts to give this information to people. We're not the type that would ever tell, this is the way you should think, this is the way you should think, this is right, this is wrong. This is not our agenda, nor is it our responsibility. Our only responsibility in our hearts is to share what we've learned along the way and to try to help some of those that have the same questions as us.
Look, this is not a documentary that we look as from outside and look inside and say, well, this is not our business, but we are going to report to you. No, there is something personal. There is something personal about this revolution. With me, with him, with you, with all Iranians. Yeah. There is something personal. And I think, and I want to expand this and say it's something personal for all citizens of this globe, this world, to know, to take a look at themselves and say what went wrong, and to see the responsibilities of their own on what happened to us, to the Iranians. Mm-hmm. Look, if September 11 happens, it's the direct result of Iran revolution. If it was not Iranian revolution, we did not have people here, we did not have September 11, we didn't have that kind of like open war with terrorism. Terrorism was limited to someone, a baby like Carlos. Look, now we're talking about like it's an international world war. It all happened because the world neglected about Iran and some part of this world because of the economic greed intentionally contributed to the downfall of this nation. And this movie should also bring their conscience and say, look at us and look at yourself. Tell us, weren't you feeling safer before Iran revolution?
And also, you know, a lot of people, when you discuss Iran with them, they have such a limited understanding of Iran's geopolitical importance or what it actually identifies and represents. If you talk to anybody from another country, it doesn't matter where they are, they always think their country is the most important, greatest country. But in essence, if you take the personal attachment of us to Iran away, you still see the geopolitical importance of that region, of that country, as well as the role that they played in stabilizing the world prior to the revolution. Mm-hmm. You know, so many people don't realize how close Iran and Israel were per se, and where has it become now? These are not things from that the people wanted. Mm-hmm. These are not things, and the people haven't changed in culture, in essence.
They are
right.
Still, yeah.
Well, we've been clothed with a new drab apparel that represents us in a different way these days.
The movie is in English. It's not in Farsi.
Yes, it's in English.
It's in English, and it's to cover our generation and also people from other countries.
Yes, because I think we have reached to a point globally that no country can claim that they are isolated, separated from the whole. We are so connected. And so the whole world should know. Look, there is this misinformation and disinformation about Iranian revolution is widespread all over the world. Before the revolution, actually, the media played its role badly.
Good evening from CBS News. This is Newsbreak.
Sometimes intentionally.
Good evening. Now we know the United States has passed the word to the Shah of Iran. It's time for him to leave his country.
Sometimes because of the ignorance that they had.
Good evening. The UN Security Council is meeting tonight on the Iranian situation.
About Iran, about what's happening in Iran. They were thinking that in Iran everything goes like they are going through recession, dictatorship, suffocating this and that, torture, this kind. Look, this is the way that they were representing Iran before this revolution. And then after that, still they feel it was something legitimately was done, but then Khomeini came and stole the revolution from the so-called intellectuals. If they were intellectual, if they were intellect enough, Khomeini could not steal it from them. Look, so they were not as smart as the guy then. And then you cannot call them intellectuals. You cannot call them smart people. Devolution is setting the stage now for what happened. And then we go back again on Devolution 2 to say the mechanism of what happened and why happened.
An island of stability.
I did criticize the president because of our undercutting of what was a stalwart ally, the Shah of Iran. And I did think that it was a blot on our record that we let him down.
How long did it take you to edit this project, Rod, approximately?
20 hours a day.
Yeah.
I have literally worked over 4,000 hours on this editing. Way over. And I mean, I've worked my entire life. I've never felt tired doing it. That's the thing. And that's the reason I was able to do it so much. To me, there's nothing I would rather do. Our main thing with Devolution is to put it in a format that is accepted by my generation as well. And we don't just talk about Iran. That's the one thing I wanted to add is most people who want to describe the situations that happened in Iran purely focus on Iran. Well, as well as we all know that when you want to see a true perspective of something, you have to look at it in an overall geopolitical sense. You have to see how this country is connected to so many other countries. Who was the top dogs? Who wasn't? You have to look at it all in the overall picture.
How was it working with your father?
It was awesome.
Look,
let me just answer this one.
Let me tell you. The positive thing is that there is nothing more valuable to me to be able to connect with my children and to really work as a team with someone. Look, I have worked with you, I have worked with them, but I have not been able to have a common ground with my children. And then I was lucky that I got out of VOA, that I had an opportunity to work with my children as a team, and we clicked in an imaginable way. That's why we cannot even separate to say who did what. With my younger son, he's a musician and he's a composer. Okay, you will see his great music, and we are also driving force for him, and he is for us. So
Did
that's-
he had the music aspect of the movie?
We have some of my brother's music in the
Yeah?
movie, yes, which creates, like I said, a whole new twist to these type of movies.
Look, the world was more progressive before Iranian Revolution. You look at the music, look at the movies, look at where the humanity were heading. Something wrong happened, and everybody had to follow this devolution. But we took the lion's share, as usual, because we were the underprivileged country. They are responsible. They should know the responsibility. They should know that they have been lied by their own government, by their own media, or whether somebody, or by their own cartels, companies, big business. I don't have all the answers, but this movie stimulates your thoughts to look for answers. Not just say that, okay, it's so because Washington Post said so.
How do you think it's going to be perceived as far as your generation, our generation?
I think that my generation is on prove it to me. That's how they act, you know? Part of our research was gathering thousands of government documents that were recently declassified from the CIA, from about John F. Kennedy, from the Richard Nixon Library, from the Gerald Ford Library, and the National Security Administration, National Security Archive. So I have gathered upwards of 3,000-ish documents that directly discuss Iran.
How do you think your generation will see your movie, Devolution?
Look, this is a very stubborn generation.
Your generation is stubborn?
Yes, because they made a mistake, and it's very hard for Iranians especially to admit that they made a mistake. But they should actually open their eyes after all and say that, look, not only we did this devolution to ourselves, but to the generations to come, to the next generation and generation after.
How do you think this movie will be perceived by Iranians outside of Iran versus Iranians who are living in Iran right now and have only been in Iran and have never stepped out of Iran?
Outsiders still, they have forgotten what they have done. They say, oh, it was not our fault. It was Khomeini who came and just stole our revolution. Inside, they are living in pain. They are living in a state of hell, so they know that they have done something wrong, and they are in a state of despair and depression. I'm trying to tell them, listen, you don't have to kill yourself. Okay, everybody makes mistake. Our mistake was a big mistake. But if we find our mistake, there is a way to just go back and start all over.
I think that the generation outside of Iran will be awoken. I think they'll understand where we were. I think they've all been hit with so much negative condensation about Iran that they're afraid to admit their own heritage. This is painful to me, in all honesty. The Iranians inside Iran, I think they'll take it as a breath of fresh air to realize that, hey, there are people that still care about Iran. There are people that are still trying. And there's people that love them. I mean, in honesty, this is why we're doing what we're doing.
Look, that's actually one thing that has kept us going, is from the minute from the beginning. When people heard that we are making this movie, from inside Iran, in Europe, here, everybody was supportive. They knew that somehow they trusted me to see that I'm not going through something that I don't believe in it. Because it was my reputation with Iranian that I never lied to them. So they put their trust on me.
When making the movie together, when you guys were working, were there times where some scenes were just hard, to watch again?
I've cried many times watching this movie. People say you're a man, you're not supposed to cry, but in my opinion, that's the only way you can lighten your load sometimes.
Is there somebody narrating the story?
Yes, we have the best narrator.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you reveal it, or you want to wait until?
And he perished at the hands of those who called their terrorism a holy mission assigned to them by God.
This gentleman is right sitting by you.
Yeah?
He is impeccable on that art of narration. Yeah.
How does that feel, Rod?
I mean, coming from a person like my father with the experience that he has, I'm speechless, and that doesn't happen too often. I'm very.
What did you learn? What did you see different about Rod during this process?
And I've never seen someone with that much of dedication that Rod showed me. This side of him that somehow I was missing.
Through this movie, I've got to understand not just my father's heart, but his mind as well. And that was a beautiful thing for me. And every single person who is in any work of human rights or trying to make the world better is doing it because of a pain that they have within themselves. Either it's a personal pain, or it's a pain that you see for your whole of people, but mostly it's a personal pain that causes this. I believe that, not just making this movie has helped us clear some of our own personal pain. And that is awesome. That's great. And I won't trade that for anything,
Realizing Iran lacked the skilled professionals necessary to accomplish these modernization plans, another plan was developed to train Iranians as specialists in various sciences and technologies.
How can people see your movie?
These are the kind of things that we are still
working on
it, thinking about it. Actually, should it be on TV as like miniseries? Should it be on? But one thing I know that we provide eventually people, because look, people like in Iran, in Europe, everywhere. Okay, we want to make sure that they have access to that, and I want to make DVD.
But until we figure out how we're going to do it, we just put up a website, devolutionmovie.com, and we will be, once we, right now we're waiting to hear back from a distributor or a factory or somebody who's making our DVDs for us, exactly how long that's going to take, and, we're just going to set that up. So we're in the final stages of the DVD sales. Okay. And that will be available on our website shortly.
Okay. We look forward to it. I am eagerly looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rod. Thank you, Mr. Baharloo.